Some learners feel stuck. They say, "I study English, but I can't speak like a native." The problem isn't always grammar or vocabulary. Sometimes it's connection. You need to feel the language, not just memorize it. And one of the best ways to do that is through story. Story gives life to words. It shows how people actually speak, how emotions sound, and how grammar flows naturally. So if you want to improve your English through real, meaningful stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Storylish, and leave a comment about what you noticed or felt. We upload new stories every day to help your English feel alive. It was late afternoon in Vienna. The sky outside was cloudy, but the inside of the central train station was bright. The ceiling was high with large glass panels that let in soft natural light. People moved in every direction, walking quickly, dragging suitcases, holding coffee, checking screens, talking on phones. Announcements echoed above in German and English, naming trains and platforms. Emma stood near a column. She wasn't waiting for anyone. She wasn't in a hurry. She didn't have a train to catch. She was just there, standing still in the middle of motion. She had arrived in Vienna the day before and had already visited the big sights, the palace, the old streets, the famous cafes. But today she didn't want to go anywhere. She just wanted to feel something real. So she came to the train station. She had always liked stations. There was something about them, the feeling of movement, the stories starting and ending, the silence between departures. Airports were too polished. Bus terminals were too loud. But train stations were just right, full of ordinary life and quiet moments. Emma found a bench facing the main hall and sat down. She took out her notebook, but didn't write. Instead, she looked. A man in a gray coat stood with a small suitcase. He kept looking at his phone, then at the departure board, then at the floor. He looked nervous. Maybe he was traveling for work. Maybe he was about to meet someone. Or maybe he was leaving something behind. Near him, a woman with 2 children gave each of them a sandwich. One child took a big bite. The other held hers and stared at the ceiling. She looked tired, not just from the day, but from something deeper. The woman rubbed the child's head gently, without saying anything. A young couple sat close together on the bench across from Emma. They weren't talking. The girl was listening to music with one earbud. The boy looked at his shoes. Their bags were small, maybe a short trip. Or maybe they were moving somewhere. They didn't smile, but they didn't look sad either. They just looked full of silence. To Emma's left, a group of teenagers with backpacks laughed loudly. They spoke a mix of German and something else, maybe Turkish. One of them told a joke. The others burst into laughter. One boy made a video on his phone. They were loud, but not rude. Just alive. A station worker pushed a cart with cleaning supplies. She moved slowly, wiping railings, picking up trash. No one looked at her. She didn't look at anyone either. But Emma did. She watched her movements, slow, careful, steady. There was something beautiful in the routine. Time passed. Emma looked at the large clock above the information desk. It was 4:42 p.m. She had been sitting for nearly 30 minutes. More people passed. A man ran across the hall with a bag bouncing on his shoulder. A woman cried softly while holding a ticket. A teenage girl rolled her eyes at her father. A boy sat alone with headphones and stared into space. 2 tourists studied a map and pointed in opposite directions. Emma kept watching. It wasn't about knowing their stories. It was about feeling their weight, their energy, their silence, their worries, their hopes. She suddenly remembered a sentence someone had once said to her. In a station, every person is in the middle of something. And it was true. No one was finished. Everyone was going or coming, leaving or waiting, saying goodbye or just arriving. The station wasn't just a place. It was a moment. At 5 p.m., Emma stood up. Her legs were a little stiff. She put her notebook back in her bag, still empty. But her mind was full. She walked slowly to the exit. The announcements continued overhead. A train arrived on platform 7. Another one left from platform 3. People moved all around her. But she was calm. She didn't take photos. She didn't write a blog post. She didn't record a video. She just watched. And somehow, in that hour of quiet observation, she felt more connected than during all her sightseeing the day before. As she stepped into the cool evening air, she smiled to herself. Not a big smile, just a small one, the kind that says, "That was enough." In this story, you learned expressions like, "She wasn't waiting for anyone," "She kept watching," and "Everyone was going or coming." You also practiced past tense narration, emotional vocabulary, and natural rhythms of conversation essential for real fluency. If this story gave you a feeling, helped you understand a phrase, or made you think in English, like the video, subscribe to Storylish, and tell us what you saw in your mind while listening. We post one new story every single day. Let your English tell a story. See you in the next video.